All right, my friends, today we're going to look at adding and subtracting rational functions. So here's this function, f of x is 1 over x plus 1 plus x over x minus 6 minus 5x minus 2 over this quadratic. And if we are going to add these terms together, we're going to need to find a common denominator to be able to combine these things. Well, so the easiest way to get started on this as far as finding a common denominator is to factor the quadratic that's here, the most complex one here. And so what I've done here is just recopied the first couple terms down, and let's factor the denominator of the last term. And what we'll see is we get x plus 1 times x minus 6. We can double check that because the middle term would be plus 1x, and then you'd have a minus 6x that would, well, conspire to make a minus 5x with that. Well, so from this you can see that what we should use as the common denominator is the product x plus 1 times x minus 6. And so if we go term by term through this, well, if with the first term is lacking x minus 6 in the denominator, so what we'll do is multiply numerator and denominator by x minus 6. That's just like multiplying by 1, which won't change the first term. The second term is lacking x plus 1, and so what we'll do is multiply by x plus 1 over x plus 1. Again, the goal being to get this common denominator. And x plus 1 over x plus 1 is just 1, so that won't change the second term. And then the third term already has this denominator, so we don't have to mess with it. Well, so now, since we have common denominators, those three terms can be placed over one denominator of x plus 1 times x minus 6. And then what I've done is just collected everything that was in the numerator. So 1 times x will give you x. 1 times negative 6 will give you negative 6. We have x times x to give you x squared. 1 times x to give you x. And then the thing you got to watch is this negative sign would distribute to both of the terms in the top here. So you'd have minus 5x, but then a plus 2, which is easy to screw that one up. So just watch out for that. And then now what we can do is, well, let's just collect like terms there in the numerator. And so what you'd find is we have an x squared, we have x plus x minus 5x, which gives you negative 3x, and we have a negative 6 and positive 2, which gives you negative 4. We would be done here, but we can actually simplify this by factoring the numerator. That will become x plus 1 times x minus 4. And what you notice there is we have this repeated factor now in the, well, this factor that appears both in the numerator and denominator. And so that can be canceled out. And so what ends up happening is this function can simplify to being written as x minus 4 over x minus 6. With the caveat that there's actually going to be a hole at x equals negative 1 because that would make this denominator 0 here. And you have this that same factor appears in the numerator. So that's going to generate a hole at x equals negative 1. So it's undefined at x equals negative 1. And also x can't be equal to 6 because that would make this denominator of the second term blow up because you'd be dividing by 0. So to see what this function actually would look like, so our original function is up here in white, and we kind of simplified it down to this blue function with all our work we just did. So if you plot that thing, it's going to look like this. You can see it kind of blowing up at x equals 6. So that's their place where the function is undefined at x equals 6. And then also we have this hole appearing at x equals negative 1 because, again, this term would blow up where we'd be undefined when x equals negative 1. So we get this hole in that location. Well, I hope you found that to be helpful, and that is a way to add terms in rational functions. The idea is to find a common denominator and then combine the terms.